Hey everybody, it's Dina Rica with the Creativity Cave, and look at this amazing card. I love it personally. And this was kind of created based on a couple cards that I've been doing lately. So if you've been watching my blog, you've probably seen a couple of them. I really like the arrangement of just stamping these hearts kind of scattered on a piece of cardstock, and then I added the sentiment to it. I'm using two stamp sets. Of course, the Heart Happiness stamp set, which is right here. And this is such a great versatile stamp set because it is not just hearts for Valentine's Day. It can be hearts for any occasions. There's beautiful floral hearts, there's different graphic hearts, and of course solid hearts and kind of watercolory hearts. So I love the versatility in this set. I also have an online class for this, and actually I think only one of the cards is a dedicated Valentine card. The rest are kind of all occasion cards. In fact, yesterday I showed a card that I made with this stamp set that was a thank you card that was so fun, bright, and cheery. So there you go. I'm also using the Lovely Friends stamp set. And I love this stamp set because the images and sentiments that are in here are so fun. They're really different, and they're just fun. So, and so I'm going to take this stamp, and I have some tips for you with that. So let's get started stamping. I'll bring in my scrap paper to protect my work surface. And when I stamp, I'm always stamping everything full strength on a panel of Whisper White cardstock. Now all the dimensions and supplies and everything that I used, along with links to my online store, can be found in the description of this video, so just look below here, as well as a link to my online class using this Heart Happiness stamp set. It's a great one and it's a super value. So first of all, I'm using a kind of a fun color combination. It is powder pink. You can also use Bermuda or Blushing Bride or Pink Pirouette. Either one, really, any of those are kind of interchangeable, really. I've also got Calypso Coral, and then rounding it out, I've got Melon Mambo and Rich Razzleberry. Now, these colors were definitely inspired by the Painted with Love stamp set, or pardon me, not stamp set, designer series paper that's in the Occasions catalog. If you haven't seen that, it is just stunningly gorgeous paper. It's one of, like, well, there's several papers that are so beautiful. I'm going to grab the pack to show you some of these patterns. They've got the gold foil in them, and they are just gorgeous. I've been using them a lot on my blog, so you probably have seen them. All right, so to do this, I will start by stamping my hearts. I'm just pulling them over here. All right, so first off, I'm going to start with my biggest heart and my lightest color, and then kind of work up into my darkest colors. Okay, so I'll start with a heart right here. Whenever I'm stamping hearts or any shape that is kind of excuse me, kind of random stamping, I like to stamp in triangles because that is visually appealing to the eye. So you can see I've stamped these in a triangular orientation. And now I will move on to my next color, and that is going to be the striped heart using Calypso Coral. So here I can overlap these colors because they're all kind of coordinated colors. So I've got one there, and I think the overlapping kind of helps tie everything together. Again, you can see the triangle configuration. Next up, we have Melon Mambo. Melon Mambo has always been a favorite color of mine because it's bright and happy and fun. And then again, you can see my triangular orientation. All right, last but not least, I have kind of the medium small. There's three solid hearts, so I guess it would be definitely the medium. I'm going to do that in Rich Razzleberry. Now, sometimes when I'm on my last heart, I find that I might need an extra heart or two to kind of fill in the space, and that is always great to do with the smallest heart last. So like you can see, I put one there. I'm going to put just a touch there to balance things out, and a little touch right there. Okay, so I've got a great base of hearts on my card. Now, next step in this process is I'm going to stamp my sentiment. And I have to be honest with you, I love the stamp set, first of all. And the big, huge sayings in that set have caused me some problems in the past. So my thought was, with our new Stamparatus, I can alleviate those problems. And actually, when making my sample, I did encounter the problem I've had. And the problem that I'm talking about is when you go to stamp your project, but you run into some problems with the whole image not stamping quite right. Maybe you didn't ink it up, maybe you didn't press quite right. And so it really is a pain, because it's usually the last step that you take, right? So I'm going to start by cleaning my stamp, because I had not cleaned it since I used it. I like to clean it with a little chamois thing. You can get these at Walmart. And then what I'm going to do is peel this off, because I want to line it up with my card. Okay, so I'm going to take my card. Now, whenever I use my Stamparatus, first of all, if I don't need both magnets, I'm going to leave them apart. These magnets are really strong, but part of their properties are that they're actually kind of breakable. So you don't ever want them to be able to smack to one another, or you don't, because they can break when you do that. And that is a known risk. So I think Stampin' Up! Is trying to get the word out on that, because they're not going to be replacing your magnets if you let them break. So you just need to be careful. I have not had any trouble with them as of yet, but I know some people have. So I'm just putting that out there. All right. Next, I'm going to take my panel and place it right up here in the corner. And I will set my magnet here, because I know that'll be out of the way of my stamping. And then I'm going to get my image and place it where I want it to go. Okay, so I might flip this over too, so my little tab is, oh my gosh, I just ruined my card. Ah! It wasn't dry. Rookie mistake. Jeez Louise. Let's see what we can do to fix that. First of all, I'll just take a tissue and blot. Ugh! It makes me so mad. Darn it. You would think as a professional stamper I would know what I was doing. You would be wrong. Okay, but I think I can kind of get them lined up to where I made my mistake. Ah! Okay. Well, we'll just live and learn now, won't we? Okay, so I've got it stuck to my Stamparatus. I did move my paper just a little bit, so I'm shoving it back in the corner. That's why I like having my paper lined up somewhere where I know I can get it into that same spot again. All right, this time we're going to ink it up. And I like to show these kinds of issues just so that you know it happens and how to fix it, All right, so I've got my Memento ink. I'm inking up my stamp really good. And then we're going to bring this down, and I'm going to purposefully try and stamp it crappy. Ah, good job, Dina. So have you ever done that? Doesn't that drive you crazy? So the beauty of the Stamparatus is that we can fix this by simply re-inking and re-stamping, because it's lined up in the nice exact spot. And I'm actually going to move this over here, because that might have been part of my problem. And then we're just going to stamp that yet again. Now this time I'm going to really pay attention to where I'm pressing to make sure I'm getting all of that down and good. And I opened it back up, and what do you know? It is gloriously, perfectly all better. All right. Now my favorite thing to do, if you've watched me, you know this, to fix a mistake such as this, where I've got this little extra ink that I did not intend, is to take and I'm just throwing by the way, I'm just throwing a scrap paper here and closing this and moving it off camera so that I can clean it up in a little bit. All right. So what I love doing to fix a problem just such as this is to take my marker. This is just a black marker, and I'm going to spritz. I do this a lot. It's one of my favorite things to do. And you can see I got some really good spritzing on here. And that spritzing kind of takes your eye away from the mistake that you had on there. So I don't think this card is lost at all. Now it's time to embellish, and I love embellishing my projects. I'm going to take my little wooden elements. I've got the hearts and stars here, and I have been actually quite busy using these babies up. So let me pull out a piece. So I want to use the outline and solid heart that's kind of medium sized, as well as the outline of this small one. I'll keep the little teeny piece in here because I'm not going to use that right now. Now to adhere these, you can use glue or glue dots. I actually am so lazy, as I think you might know by now. I actually like to just put a little bit of fast fuse on the back. Now, sometimes you kind of mess with your fast fuse a little, but it works. Here again, we can kind of cover our mistake a little bit by placing this sort of over one of those problem areas. On this outline, again, I'm going to put some adhesive, and you really don't need much. So you can see I have just a little right there, and maybe I'll get a little more over here. If I see that the adhesive is kind of showing through my heart, I'll sort of use my fingernail to kind of get it so it's just on the edges. And then again, I'll place this right where I would like it. And likewise, we'll finish it off with the smallest one right here. Sometimes if you can't get your finger in there to get that adhesive kind of under control, you can also use a poker, like a paper piercer. All right, so I'm kind of overlapping and again, placing these in a triangular configuration. Now the last thing that I'm going to do is embellish with some rhinestones, because everything that sparkles is better. Those are, of course, our words to live by. Now here, if you have trouble placing them with just picking them up with your fingers, you can pick them up with a scissors. So I just kind of pull it off of the sheet, and I like to kind of vary the sizes and the placement of these, and I like to sort of coordinate them a little bit with what I've already put down. And again, we're sort of keeping them in a triangular configuration, not 100%, but I always kind of have that in the back of my head. So we'll stick one there, put a little one over here, and maybe one more up here, like so. Okay, and if you wanted to add more, you certainly could, but I love adding a little sparkle to my card. To finish this up, I'm just going to layer it up on some cardstock, and then we are all done. So even though I messed this up, I think I resurrected it pretty well. I covered my mistakes as best as I could, and unless you pointed this out to somebody, they probably would not notice the mistakes. Also, can I just say, if I gave this to my husband, he would never notice the mistakes. So, because he's a boy, and boys don't pay attention to that stuff the way girls do. So it totally works. All right, so again, I'll just put the adhesive on my back of my card, and look at this beautiful card. So cute. So I hope you enjoyed this project. Again, if you need to purchase any of the supplies to make this project, I would love to be your demonstrator. Please allow me to earn your business. If you need any supplies, you can order through my online store. There's links in the description of this video. Just click below. And if you would like to order the online card class that goes with this Heart Happiness stamp set, I promise they are great, easy, quick, fun cards for a variety of occasions, and I think you'll love them so much. Thank you guys for joining me. I am so happy to be stamping with you as always, and I hope you have a great day. We'll see you soon. Bye.